Yes, sir. Constable Rolly Beat reporting for duty, sir. Well, good morning, officer. Sorry for dozing until now, sir. I haven't slept for a month, on account of a villain who's appeared on my beat, sir. Oh, they're so heroic. So heroic. These London bobbies. It really makes me think of trying a bobby head one day, for sure. And make me feel like a hero myself. Patricia, my darling, I've been neglecting you. But no more. Oh, Raleigh, my hero. You make me swoon. Well, I hereby reject the defense's request. Oh. In order the witnesses in the stand to testify again. State forthwith before the court and name details pertaining to the defense's alternative explanation of events. Well, I don't know if we could have examined Mrs. Gardeb like anyway. I think that she's still, like... She's still unconscious right now. Yes, sir. Alright, another witness testimony from these two. This case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Gardeb. Believe me, a London bobby is good for his word. You see, sir, the windows on the top floor of the Gardeb house are top-hinged casements. Wait, what? Top-hinged casements? Obviously, if anything had been thrown out of the window, we would have seen it. I did leave the scene to go and fetch help, but my trusty Rolly was there to make sure nothing was disturbed. I didn't take my eye off this crime scene for one moment, sir. Nothing strange to report on that front, sir. Oh, this is quite startling. Top-hinged casement windows. Yeah, sorry for my poor English right over here. Again, English is not my my first language and all that, so sometimes sometimes I will not understand some words. But what does it mean when they say top-hinged casement windows? That detail was not in the police report, Constable. Yeah, sorry about that. I must have been a little drowsy. I mean, if he is innocent and all that, and let's say that he didn't see, like, the book and the knife being thrown, he wouldn't have talked about the windows on buildings. He would have talked about, like, the incident right in front of him, which would be Olive Green and how she died, and the accursed accused. Yeah, I guess we can call him that, like, the accursed accused. You can access your sins with drowsiness every time, Constable. No, sir. Sorry, but what exactly is a top-hinged casement window? Well, at least somebody else understands my pain right over here. I mean, English is not his first language either, so... And you cannot excuse your ignorance with such trite remarks, my learned friend. Oh, shut it. Oh, of course. Sorry. I found him now, though. Cast your mind back to the windows in Mr. and Mrs. Gardeb's room. Alright, I'll try. So the window opens in order to allow air to circulate inside the house. But as it's a top-hinged case window, it swings open along the upper edge, you see. Whoa! I'm glad you rectified your ignorance. A casement window's most prominent feature. I don't think I've ever seen something like that before. Oh, okay, maybe. Maybe I've seen some windows that are not full like that, like some opening compartments like that, but that is an interesting contraption there. is its stay. A metal bar which prevents the window from being opened beyond a certain amount. Oh, I see. So I guess that's what they were talking about when they said, like, the distance being a problem. Because if a window opens only that amount, you wouldn't be able to be thrown, like, all the way on the other side of the road, because otherwise it would have broken the window. With that kind of gap in the window, the only way you can throw something out the window and not break the window would be, like, right near the building. Okay. It prevents its opening. This is all news to me. Big good news, sir! Absolutely correct, sir. Big good news, sir. In other words, if a book or knife were to have been thrown through the open window, you would have clattered against the pane and fallen straight down to the pavement below. Yeah, I see. Like, if you were to throw it, it would hit, like, the top. I mean, I guess from this angle, I guess you could just throw it, maybe. If you're lucky, you could throw it through the gap and maybe land on the other side, but I guess we're gonna go with the idea that if something were to be thrown, then you would have to, first things first, touch the top and then fall down, like on the pavement, like near the building. Oh. You see the problem then? Good. Your education in Windows is complete. Next is gonna be an education on doors. There was never any possibility of either the book or the knife traveling 15 yards over the road. That is, unless the window pane had been shattered. Something we've discounted already. That can't be.
You see that, Rolly? The young Japanese man just collapsed in agony.
Ah, yes, my darling. I saw it. I saw how he crumbled before me.
Oh, Rolly, you're so strong.
What is happening? Nah, Leonosuke sure is an unlucky bastard. Like, contradictions keep appearing right in front of me. I mean, it's part of the defense attorney spiel up until this point, but man, it feels like it feels crazier now for some reason. I haven't even started the cross-examination yet, and already my argument's being destroyed. Counsel, if you could drag yourself upright there. The court awaits your cross-examination. My lord. Good, another desperate situation. Okay, let's actually start the cross-examination before anything else appears that would destroy us. Come on, let's go. It's like the more we wait, the more stuff will happen. Okay. This case has nothing to do with Mr. Actually, can I even, Let me see if I can actually go through this without pressing. Or... So, I feel like we're definitely gonna have to find a solution to that window thing. So, but what they're saying over here is that Patricia went to go to the police box, and only Rolly was at the scene of the crime at some point, while Patricia was after the police box. So, if they are right on that, then the only one who could have done something suspicious would be Rolly. Okay, well, I guess so. I guess we shall start pressing on some stuff right over here. How can you say that for certain? A very good question, sir. And the answer is this. It has the noble founding principles of the Force written on it as a reminder to all us policemen of our sworn duty.
He showed us that before, didn't he?
Did he? I cannot say that I remember. Yeah, I do. To patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of the common man. It's what the job's all about. And that is why I can stand here today beside my long-suffering wife and tell you Bob is good for his word. While rubbing my tired eyes at Noby. So.
Oh, Raleigh, you're so manly.
Of course I am, my darling Patricia.
Oh, Pat. Oh, Raleigh.
No, none of this is what I meant. I mean, how can you say for certain that this case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Gardep? That's what I've asked. You... Ugh. Ah, I see, sir. Yeah. You should have said so earlier, sir. Well, I did! Yeah, well... could you answer the question? Well, that was a waste of time, then. Absolutely, sir. I'll answer it to the fullest of my ability, sir. There's a surprising reason why Mr. and Mrs. Gardep's domestic dispute cannot be related to this case. But before I get into that, sir, just one thing. Yes? I very much like you and all your countrymen to understand the great British institution of Scotland Yard. Oh, okay, there you go. There's another story that we're gonna have to go through over here. Okay. So I hope you'll take back some tales of us London bobbies and how we uphold our guiding principles. Please, I wasn't planning on going back just yet. I've only just arrived here. So to that answer, I'd be happy to lend you my warrant card for your perusal. But I must warn you, you won't be able to get through it without shedding a few tears. Thank you. I'll try. Okay. Yeah, I guess so. I feel like nowadays we cannot go through these cross-examinations without pressing every statement. Like I cannot just go through a cross-examination and just boop! There's my contradiction like right there from the beginning. I did that stuff before sometimes. Like sometimes I change the pace right over here and just try to speed it up a little bit by presenting my contradiction, since I already had the answer. But nowadays, I don't think that's the case anymore. Item number 1. A policeman will strive to preserve the peace within his allotted beat. Number 2. A patrolling officer is expected to walk 20 miles around his beat every day for the furtherance of community relations. Metropolitan Police Regulations, Principles of Policing. Any crimes falling under the jurisdiction of the beat in which they are discovered. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. Okay. Any crimes fall under the jurisdiction of the beat in which they are discovered. Okay.
Hold it!
By which you mean they don't open fully. Is that correct? Yes, sir. They are just there to allow a bit of air through the houses, you see. So they're restricted as to how much they open. Therefore, anything thrown out the window from inside the room will simply strike the pane and fall to the street directly below. For clarity, allow me to mark the map. Here is the location where objects would have fallen. Yes. Directly opposite the scene of the crime, on the other side of the rather wide road. Oh. Okay. Okay, maybe something that I've been thinking about something before and I mentioned that. It could very well be true. Especially with this warrant card. I think it brings up a detail that we're definitely gonna use at some point, but let's see. Would that have been so hard for somebody to mention this top-hinged casement thing before? Well, I have another question for you, Constable. And what would that be, Sam? How do you even know? Why would you have any idea what sort of windows Mr. and Mrs. Gardev's house is furnished with? Ah, well, Saab, that's very simple. You see, I helped with the investigation yesterday. Oh? Hey there, Patricia.
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say? Do you have something to add, Miss Beat?
Hmm? Sorry.
You look, well, delighted. Is there some particular reason for that?
I was just remembering. That's all. We really were so lucky.
Lucky? What do you mean?
Well, of course I feel terrible for the poor woman who was attacked. Don't misunderstand me, please. But we're just so lucky it didn't happen on Rolly's beat. He was so close, you see.
Oh. I hadn't realized.
Yes. That street, Briar Road. That's the boundary between Rolly's beat and the next one. Isn't that right, my love?
Constable Beat.
Hmm? Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's the reason I was helping out with interviewing the occupants of the Gardev household yesterday. Their house is on my beat, you see. So. I really was cutting it close down.
Constable, I wonder if you could clarify something. If the Gardem household is on your beat, does that mean that the pavement next to it is as well?
Outside Mr. Gardev's house?
Yes, ma'am.
The pavement on that side of the road is part of my beat. I see. I wasn't aware of that.
Just think, if a woman had been attacked just on the other side of the Briar Road, we would never have been able to go for that meal to celebrate our wedding anniversary. But that's the life of Bobby after all.
If the woman had been attacked just on the other side of the Briar Road. Extraordinary people are Bobbies, tirelessly working for the benefit of all Londoners.
Do you know what I think? I think it was the good Lord's way of rewarding my Rolly for all his hard work. Don't you think so, my darling?
That must be it, Pat, my love. That must be it. I think perhaps we should make sure we have the information officially on record.
Leave it to me, Miss Narada. I'll take care of it immediately.
Okay. The case file information. The pavement where the victim was found lies just outside Constable Beat's beat. Oh, that's why he's called Beat. That's why they're called Beat. Okay. The border which runs down the middle of Briar Road.
And now it's my turn, I think.
But wait, hold on a second. If can I examine this? Pavement of Briar Road, east side. Reporting officer. Well, the thing is, though, like, where is the map exactly? Like, from what I'm understanding right over here, his beat was on this side, not on this side. If I'm to think that, like, she was killed right over here. Like, I cannot say that I understand the reason why. Like, if I'm to think that they moved the body on the other side, what would be the reason? Like, yeah, the body would actually be here, and it would be on his beat. If the body was moved right over here, it would not be on his beat. Again, I'm trying to figure out, like, a reasoning for... Like, if we're to think of what happened before, if the knife landed on Olive Green because of Mrs. Garrideb, then that would be considered an accident. There is really no motive for murder in this case. So... Well, I mean, I guess it would be an accident that would tell us that she died. That much she didn't die. She went in a coma. But Olive Green would still be like Olive Green would still be connected to these two, maybe. So the point is, I'm trying to figure out the motive for why they would move the body to the other side, so they wouldn't be on their beat.
Hold it!
But according to my notes here, the sun had gone down already and it was dark.
Oh, but Willie and I was strolling along, gazing at the night sky and looking for our lucky star.
Sorry?
The star that will guide us to eternal happiness.
Can't it guide you to answer the question?
If a flaming book had cut across the sky in front of us, it would have lit up like a shooting star. And if I'd seen the shooting star, I would have made a wish upon it. Let Raleigh be an inspector, I would have said. 3 times at least. Of course, what with the smog and everything, we couldn't actually see any stars.
In short, are you trying to say that neither a book nor a knife crossed the sky before you?
Yes, sir. That is correct, sir. Sure as the night sky in London is starless, sir.
So it seems like they're telling the truth.
And then we saw the poor woman fall to the ground, so we ran straight over to help her.
Well, the thing is, though, they say that they were on their beat on the... I guess we should go with the west and the east side. They were on beat on the west side. They saw a body fall on the east side. Even if this was their beat, they couldn't just ignore a body like right over there dying over there. So they clearly would have gone there to help.
Hold it!
Yeah, he said that you went to a nearby police box to fetch another officer. Is that right?
That's right, yes. If you had been on Raleigh's beat, I would have known exactly where I was going, of course. Oh, don't feel bad, my love. You cannot expect to know the location of every police box on every beat. So Raleigh taught me that way. Only, I sort of got a little lost on the way. Patricia, my darling, that's why I love you. Your terrible sense of direction is bewitching to me. It is making my heart go on fire. Arrgh. Oh, Pat. Oh, Raleigh.
Please. Get a room, you two.
So, I suppose I was gone for about 15 minutes. But like I said, my Raleigh was at the scene the whole time, making sure nothing was disturbed. I was off duty at the time, of course, but a true Bobby is never really off duty, sir. I didn't take my eye off the crime scene for one moment, sir. Nothing strange to report on that front, sir.
Hold it!
Okay, and last one.
Nothing to report. That's correct, sir. I had my eyes wide open the entire time. Never looked away for a second. No one else approached the scene, and nothing was removed from it. I can swear to that on the yard's honor, sir.
Really? That seems a little strange.
Bigger pardon, sir? Strange, sir. Seems altogether regular to me.
This burned book copy of the Lion's Pride was already in the Garrideb's household.
So the question remains, how did it find its way into the pant of the victim? Can you shed any light on that? Seeing as you were at the scene of the crime the entire time? Aha! Could it be a different copy, sir? One that just happened to be burned as well? It would be quite a huge coincidence in that case. Even if that were possible, why would the victim have been gripping a book like that in her hand? As we can see from this photographic print, she had a bag over her shoulder. I guess one other explanation would be that some random hobo was reading a book by the fire, like near the street. And it just so happened that hobo was also reading like another copy of that book and it also got burned. And I guess the hobo decided to throw that book because they don't understand the book. Well, sir, that book was in the lady's hand from the moment we arrived at scene. Is that so? There's something about this statement that's not sitting right with me. The two mysteries of how that knife ended up in her back, and how the book ended up in her hand. There must be some common thread between them.
Can I ask you something, please, Mr. Lawyer, sir?
Oh, yes, of course. What is it?
You're doubting us, aren't you? I can tell.
Oh, are you gonna add some extra stuff for us? What? I wasn't really, I mean... Okay, she's catching me here, but still.
Please, just because I'm a woman, it doesn't make my testimony as valuable. You might just see me as the wife of a policeman, but I'm a woman of my word. I am. And my words are as powerful as my husband's punches. Pam pam!
I really don't remember ever suggesting that I doubt you.
No excuses. I don't want to hear it. My voice will be heard. My lord, you let me speak, won't you?
Yes, Miss Beat. I'll allow you to supplement your testimony if you desire. Sometimes the path of least resistance is the sage one. Well, that was a very loud mutter.
I heard that. That Japanese man thinks a policeman's wife's word counts for nothing, does he? Well, watch out, sir. I might let you get away with something like that. But my hole you won't.
Duly noted, Miss Beat. Please, I humbly ask you to continue.
What could she possibly be about to say, I wonder?
Okay.
I know what I saw. My eyes never let me down. My sense of direction is a little off sometimes, though.
Hold it!
Miss Beat, nobody's questioning what you've told us.
I saw it. I did. That evening, I saw it clearly. That little Eastern man with the whiskers and the funny curled back, slinking away from the scene. And I know what I didn't see as well. I didn't see any flaming books or knives flying through the sky.
Okay, all very clear. You also mentioned something about having a poor sense of direction.
Oh, yeah, well, that's a little embarrassing, really. I'm always ending up at the wrong place when I've made the arrangements to meet Rod. He gets ever so cross.
Oh,
Excuse me.
Constable Beat, is there a problem? No, sir. No problem, sir. The otherwise remark just now brings something to mind, perhaps?
Oh, well, in a way, sir. Yes, sir. I was just remembering that the same thing happened that evening as well.
Oh? What? You mean Mrs. Beat lost her way? On the night of the incident?
Well, you see,
I sent her off to find a police box next beat over from mine. But she was gone a fair bit longer than what I was expecting. I thought she'd be back inside 10 minutes.
but my darling was gone a good 15. Oh, Roddy, you're such a tease.
Okay, let's tone it down a little bit right over here. Let's tone it down with this stuff. You can have your time like after the trial.
But the reason I was so long was because of the bouquet, silly.
Bouquet? Sorry, what bouquet are you talking about?
Oh, it was a present for our wedding anniversary. Roddy's so romantic. He saved up for it with fartings and halfpennies he found in the gutter while doing his rounds.
Fartings? What is that? Yeah, how romantic.
I forgot all about it until just now. Hedy, my darling?
Ah! Oh, yes. But that's just, between us. I'm not talking about it to anyone else, darling. You have to...
Really?
Oh. What was that all about? Constable Beat looked very obviously troubled during that exchange. I wonder... Let's see if we can pursue that.
I'm afraid I cannot offer any useful insight, Mr. Odo. But I'm quite sure of one thing. We have to ask Mrs. Beat about the bouquet.
Mrs. Beat, this bouquet you just mentioned. I'd like you to add details about it to your testimony, please.
Oh, really? Yes, I'd love to.
Dot. What is it that you're doing about? Hold on. Let me see. You dropped your bouquet and ended up losing your way for a while.
Hold it!
You mean you dropped the bouquet at the scene of the crime?
Yeah, that's right. Oh, I was so upset. When we ran over and saw it was a woman with a knife in her back, I was so shocked. I dropped the bouquet Rolly gave me. It was in a dark spot where the streetlights weren't casting any light, so I didn't notice at first.
In a spot where the streetlights weren't casting any light, say. And then you went to the police box to report it to the policeman whose beat it was on?
Yes. And I came back to the scene together with another constable, you see. That's when I spotted my bouquet again. The funny thing was, when I went to pick it up, it was nowhere near the victim's body at all.
In case you need reminding, Miss Beat, the victim is not deceased. Yeah, that's a mistake that even I'm making.
I was all flustered for a moment before I heard a...
Even the story is forgetting that from time to time.
I was all flustered for a moment before I heard a voice calling me from the other side of the road.
Your husband, presumably.
That's right. Silly me. I got over to the wrong side of the street. Although, I'm going to blame the bouquet this time. I cannot think how it got there. I really cannot.
Neither can I. I wonder. Does the bouquet somehow move from one side of the broad road to the opposite? Curious indeed.
Isn't it? But the worst of it is, I forgot to pick a bouquet up again when we left the scene. That beautiful rose Rolly bought me. But I changed from the gutter he spent so long collecting.
By bouquet, do you perhaps mean this sorry solitary rose? Hey, there you go. You found it. Oh, such a hero.
Oh! Oh! Yes, that's it! That's the bouquet Rolly bought me for our anniversary, with all bits of change he found in the gutter.
Maybe just call it a rose. Tell us, 016, where did it come by the flow? According to the report by the police officer in charge of the crime scene investigation, it was found on the edge of the pavement in front of the Gardev household. In front of the Gardev's house. Although it wasn't noticed until the morning, as it lay where the street lamps cast no light. It was believed to be of no relevance to the case, since it was found on the opposite side of the thoroughfare.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. Could I have it back now, please?
Oh, I think for good measure, this rose should be added to the court record as evidence.
Thank you, Judge.
Oh, this is so beautiful. Thank you for the lovely flower.
Oh,
Present for Patricia beat from her husband Rolly. The shock of seeing the stabbed victim caused Mrs. B to drop the rose where she stood.
but it's a symbol of our love. I want it back after the trial. Do you hear me? I want it back.
Good grief. Rest assured that I shall do my very best not to forget, Miss Pete. Alright, well, let's see about this bouquet right over here. Let me examine it first. Like, is there anything of note that we can use right over here? It's very stylish paper the flowers wrapped in, isn't it?
It's just an old newspaper, Miss Naruto.
Oh. I suppose because I'm not used to seeing English print. Looks so exotic to me. I wonder what it is, what the news, like how they read the news, the Japanese, during these times.
Oh, I see.
Is something wrong?
Oh, no. I was just thinking that if you wrap the stone-baked sweet potato in English newspaper, it might look like some sort of fancy cake.
Ah, you do love your cake, Susato. Hey, there's a first for me.
An English rose. Such a beautiful flower.
Oh, this is a rose, is it? I've never seen one before. I guess roses are not existent in Japan. Do you not
take an interest in flowers, Miss Naruto?
I wouldn't say that exactly. But I do know 3 types at least.
Gosh, free?
Yep. Plum blossom, peach blossom, and cherry blossom. Only the blossoms.
Perhaps you should consider branching out. Letting some that aren't fruit tree based, for example.
Or just go outside once in a while. Okay, well, I think I'm getting what we're supposed to do over here. I mean, the idea of them moving the body to the other side, it is a simple thing to see right over here. It's not necessarily that the flower bouquet was moved, but rather the body was moved, and the flowers were in the exact same position as last time. It's just that I guess Patricia thought that the flowers were moved, and she forgot that the body was actually on one street, and she thought that she was on the wrong pavement and such. So, I guess if we were to contradict something right over here, hold on. What happened? Nothing was disturbed. Like, if I'm to think of a contradiction over here... to make sure that nothing was disturbed. Right. But if we are to think of... Well, actually, how am I even supposed to contradict this? Like, I'm supposed to go with the idea that the body was moved. And I guess one perfect example would be of this. Or... hold on. Like, I'm also thinking of the motive right over here. I guess one motive would be for Rolly to not be a part of the investigation. He would move the body to the other side for other people to investigate while he goes on to continue with his anniversary, I guess. Like, that would be one possibility, but still, how do I even go with... Didn't take off the... Okay, well, in that case, I'm gonna go and see about presenting the flowers here. That Rolly was there and he made sure that nothing was disturbed. I cannot say for sure about that.
Objection!
The witness's last statement is clearly that... okay. You know, whenever Uronosuke starts repeating this line over here, that's clearly not a good sign. Nope. Oh. Not in a million years. Nah. I mean, that's all you need. Like, again, this could be a problem of me having the right idea, it's just that I have to present it, like, correctly, otherwise the game will not recognize it. Okay, well, here goes nothing.
Objection!
There you go. You claim, Constable Pete, there was nothing to report in the 15 or so minutes you were guarding the scene. But that cannot be.
What? What do you mean to say?
In your testimony just now, Miss Beat, you explained to the court that when you arrived back at the scene of the crime with the policeman assigned to that beat, the bouquet you had dropped at the victim's side was no longer anywhere nearby.
Objection!
Yes, on the opposite side of Bra Road to where the victim was attacked. But considering the size of that meager bouquet, it was single. Sorry bloom can't be so described. No doubt it was blown in the wind across the street, back into the gutter where it belongs.
Miyagi?
Objection!
But if that were the case, why did Constable Beat not testify to the fact? Oh. I guess the idea was to to report on the fact that the flowers were ended up on the other side? I guess that's the logic that was supposed to be behind this.
No one else approached the scene, and nothing was removed from it. Constable Beat was swore to that on Scotland Yard's honor. But the bouquet belonged to me. It has nothing to do with the case. That's why Rolly didn't mention it, I'm sure.
No, because sadly, it's not only your bouquet we're talking about here. More than one thing in this case is mysteriously the wrong way around. What are you talking about? Think about it. Because besides Mrs. Beat's bouquet, there's Mr. Garadev's book. Mr. Garadev's copy of The Lion's Pride, which was thrown out the window by his wife, would have struck the pane of the casement window and landed here, on the west side of the street. True. The book, the bouquet, and possibly even the knife. And yet, it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road, in the victim's hand. Meanwhile, according to the testimony we've heard, Mrs. Beat's bouquet should have been dropped here at the scene of the crime, on the east side of the street. But in fact, it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road, in front of Mr. and Mrs. Garadev's house. There's no logical explanation for those things, unless somebody deliberately moved them.
What are you trying to say? The way you're talking, it sounds like you think my Rolly's done something wrong. Don't you listen to a word that scrawny lawyer says. Whittering on about books and bouquet. Why should we care? It's nitpicking, that's what it is.
I guess part of a defense attorney's job is to nitpick, like all around. I'll become the master of nitpickers. You might call it nitpicking, Mrs. Garridog. But deliberately meddling with the scene of the crime is a criminal offense. It's called,
Tampering, Miss Naruto.
yeah, there you go, thank you. But the person responsible for this tampering cannot admit to it. For a very subtle but compelling reason.
Objection!
Tampering? You barely heard the term before. Tell us, my learned friend, who would possibly have had cause to carry out such an elaborate deception? Yeah, there is someone who tampered with the scene of the crime, alright. All the evidence and all the testimony points to that one particular person. Counsel, I must demand that you substantiate this conjecture. Who are you saying is responsible for tampering with the scene of the crime? It would have to be Rollybeat himself. It couldn't have been Patricia since she went for the police box. Or it could be that both of them are responsible for this, but still, I'm gonna go with Rollybeat.
Take that!
Obviously, there's only one person it could have been. Constable Rollybeat. It was you! What? A policeman? A member of Scotland Yard? There you go. I've been talking about this little bit of foreshadowing that I've done, I've been talking about this little foreshadowing that I've discussed, like a while ago, about some kind of police member, being responsible for the tampering of evidence in the last case, and, well, I guess we are to doubt a policeman of all people, like in this case, so...
What nonsense! Why would my Rolly do something like that? There's no one straighter than my husband. Nobody works more tirelessly for the people of London.
Mrs. Beat, you said in your testimony that your husband asked you to go to a nearby police box to fetch the officer on duty. The 15 minutes that you were absent from the scene is the only opportunity anyone had to tamper with it.
You're making it up. It's all nonsense. It's all lies. What about that Japanese man with the whiskers? I bet it was him. He did it.
Well, in which case, Rolly definitely would have reported this.
Objection!
If that was true, Constable Beat would have seen him do it.
Oh. And forgive me for pointing it out, but when you dropped your bouquet, Miss Beat, it was after the defendant had fled the scene. Well...
Yeah, that's true. Unless, our accursed accused went back to change the position of the body without Rolly Beat noticing it. Uh-oh. What if they're gonna say that he was actually asleep, in which case...
Objection!
First you make accusations about the landlord and his wife. And now you incriminate a policeman as well. But your accusations lack one very important thing. You claim the crime scene was tampered with. But there is only one reason anyone would commit such a reckless crime. To hide someone.
That's right. He's right. But my husband and I just happened to be there. That's all. So why wouldn't we have anything to hide? It doesn't make any sense.
You've offered no motive for this alleged tampering. And until you do, your accusations are nothing but empty threats. Yeah, that's true. Unless we're gonna go with the idea that he moved the body so that he wouldn't have to do all the extra work, all the investigating afterwards. Unless we're going with that. There is really no motive for... I don't see like any motive for Rolly Beat to do that to the victim itself.